What is the best version of Nothing Compares to You? Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, and I am your host, Prince's Friend. Today we have another Judges Panel video, and I love doing these. For those of you who are new to the Judges Panel format, I propose a topic, and myself and a bunch of other amazing Prince peeps give our thoughts on it. We give scores, and we let math be the judge of what is the best. Today we're going over what is the best version of Nothing Compares to You. Now this song has been covered a lot by a lot of different people, but what I've done is boiled it down to the 6 best ones in my opinion, and then of course we're going to go through these 6 and figure out which one's the best out of them. And I have an amazing cast of judges with me on this video. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Sean McPherson. I'm the project manager for Purple Current, as well as a host on The Current and Purple Current, and I'm excited to talk Nothing Compares to You versions.
How's it going, everyone? Stone here in Minneapolis, ready to do this, talk about the original here. So let's bring it on, let's do this.
Hi friends and Prince's friends, thanks for having me, and hi Prince's friends and friends of friends. My name is Troy Gua. I'm a visual artist and designer from Seattle. You may know my artwork known as Le Petit Prince, which is a photographic series celebrating the genius of Prince and a reimagining of his life and career in surreal miniature. You can find me and my artwork on the web at troygua.com. Thanks to Prince's Friend for having me. This is an honor. Let's get to it.
And obviously I am Prince's Friend. Let's get into it.
Cause nothing compares to you.
Now this is the first version, but it was actually kind of the third one that I had even heard. It is good, but it's not my favorite. It feels a little bit more like it's melodramatic instead of emotional. St. Paul sings it well. He's a great singer. I actually like him a lot. But it didn't play to the group's strengths either. What it should have been is it should have been St. Paul singing with Susanna's voice kind of coming in and out. I think that the group really shines when all of the members are in the mix. In this case, it just didn't really hit the mark for me. I'd give it a 7.
The family's version of Nothing Compares to You, granted, it's the original version of the song, I do not like it that much. I think at its best, this song needs a full band arrangement that's a little bit more sassy and a little more rhythmically exciting than most ballads are, and you don't get any of that in this version by the family. Plus, I don't think this song is improved by a saxophone solo. There's a lot of versions with saxophone solos. I don't think any of them help that much. But in particular, this one, it just isn't full of some of the grit and power of later versions of the tune or the version that Prince made on his own. So this one is not going to get a great rating from me. I'm giving the family's version of Nothing Compares to You 5 out of 10.
I know the original version from the family should be considered the standard version, but I never really liked the male vocal version of the song by any male, pretty much. I always thought it was better suited coming from a woman as far as getting the emotional theme across the song. So I gotta say, it's not my favorite. I give Paul his props for his vocals on it. They're not bad. But the song, not having a drum track, I'm not really into the sax. It's not my favorite version. So I'm going to have to give it a 7 for the original one by the family.
Instructions were given to us judges to implore us not to be swayed by nostalgia, and I will try my best. But after living with and listening to these songs for like 30-some years, they embed themselves within you. And you can't help but feel a certain kind of way about them. And I'll try to remain objective. Let's start with number 1, the family. This to me is the quintessential version. Nothing compares to it. And I scored a 10. This is the version our Purple World first heard. And it's the version that the 14-year-old me played on repeat and sang into the mirror, or lip synced, if the case may be, if my parents were home. I dreamt of being St. Paul singing to my lost queen. You know, this is like the song that is embedded in me. And the minimalist quality of the instrumentation and the production lends this certain melancholy to the song that hasn't really been achieved in subsequent versions, I feel. Claire Fisher's cinematic orchestration mixed with Paul Peterson's and Susanna Melvoin's haunting, pleading vocals are just this, you know, they're kind of a match made in heaven for me, and they still invoke so much emotion and like spine tingling to me. And you know, to this day when I hear that song, it's just like brings me right back. Yeah, for me, there was never another version of this song made. I would be totally cool with that if this was the only version that ever existed. But you know, over the past couple years, I've had the great opportunity to meet a few of my, you know, heroes from the Prince universe, and Paul Peterson being one of them. And I was at this at the PRN Alumni Foundation event last October at the Maceo Parker concert, and sitting at my table, Paul Peterson comes up, and you know, we say hi real quick, and Heidi's there, and we're talking, and he leaves, and then you know, he comes back by later and kind of squeezes my shoulder, and I'm just like sitting there thinking, God, this is just like I'm in a dream world. It's like St. Paul just squeezed my shoulder as he walked by. What is up? And yeah, anyway, the family's version is tops.
'Cause nothing compares, no, nothing compares to you.
Now, we all know that what Prince would do is when he's working on a demo for a song that he wrote for somebody else, he'd record it himself, and then he'd say, hey, do it like this. And that's what this version is. I think it's damn good in the way that it's executed. I think it also feels incomplete in a way. The video that was released alongside it showed a bunch of unreleased like rehearsal footage and stuff, which I thought that was really the draw for me. But removing that aspect, I think it's good. I think it needed a little bit more. I think it was slightly better than the Family's, but pretty much on par. I'm going to give it also a 7.
Prince's formerly unreleased version of Nothing Compares to You is a masterpiece. I expected it to be good. I frankly didn't expect it to be as good as it is. It's one of those songs that I cannot fathom one person doing the majority of the work on. There's a way the drums are kind of loose and responsive, and also a way that the guitar is in the background but does so much great work. It's just unbelievable how great of a version Prince put down and didn't release at the time at all. And I also can't believe that he made it all on his own. There is a sax solo on it, but everything else is just incredible about it. I'm not a huge fan of sax on this song in general, but I'm going to have to give this one 10 out of 10 because it's an otherworldly version of Nothing Compares to You.
The original version by Prince, which is pretty much a demo version, is still a really good version of the song. I like it better than the original. I like Prince's vocals are a lot better than what Paul was able to do with his range, I guess. And you can tell he feels it. The song is actually made up of personal feelings because it conveys through his vocals when Prince does it. And I like the music arrangement a lot better. I like the guitar work in the song a lot more. And vocal-wise, I give it a 9. I give Prince's version of the song an actual 9.
Prince's version, the recent release, of course, this should be the quintessential version. I love it enough to give it a 7. I give it a 7. But there's something about this version that doesn't hit the bullseye for me. It's like this Frankensteinian quality to it. You know, it's like kind of pieced together. It might just all be in my head, but it sounds like what is kind of a scratch track, you know, a brilliant one, you know, for the band to learn from that's been remastered and elevated to the level of finished product. And of course, because they say it is. And I can't argue with that. But there's just something that doesn't ring true about it for me. And I love that the powers that be made it available, though, and I'm happy the world gets to listen to it.
Nothing compares. Nothing compares to you.
Now, Sinead's is pretty much the version that the world knows when it comes to Nothing Compares to You. This is the one that made it a big thing. What I like most about it is that she tackles it really well vocally, but it also kind of has a little bit of anger to it. It's not just, a sad, sad song. And it is sad too, but it's not just sad. She's fighting through those tears, and I think her original take on the song is really super strong. So I'm going to give hers a 9.
Sinead O'Connor's version of Nothing Compares to You is the version that a lot of folks, including myself, heard for the first time. And I tried to divide that fact a little bit from my opinions on the song because I wanted to be somewhat empirical. And I really think that this is the greatest vocal performance of Nothing Compares to You ever. Now, I think that Prince eclipsed the quality as far as the instrumental arrangement of his own version. And I think that Rosie Gaines and Prince's version is also great. But my gosh, Sinead O'Connor's delivery of the vocals, her work on the verses, and especially that extra high note in the chorus is just one of the best readings of the song ever, and I think an incredible vocal performance. I'm giving Sinead O'Connor's version 10 out of 10.
Sinead O'Connor, she pretty much took this song and she owned it. And I mean, you have to give it up to her. I know real Prince fans cannot stand Sinead O'Connor. I understand, but you have to give it up. She made that song the standard song after the original. I mean, no one could do it as good as her, not even Prince. I give her version of the song a 10 because no one has been able to give that song that justice like she has been able to. And the production on it is probably the best in everyone on this list, except for maybe one. But if Prince had more time to work on this song, instead of being bombarded by all the projects he was trying to do at the time, maybe he could have delivered a song like this for the family. Maybe. But he didn't. And that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, Sinead O'Connor, I give her a 10. Her song is the best rendition of that song, period.
Number 3, Sinead O'Connor. This is the version that the rest of the world first heard, and while I'm grateful that the rest of the world was introduced to this song and to Prince's incredible songwriting skills, it's always given me kind of a frustrated feeling. Like, I remember during its run of the charts, just kind of feeling weird about it, and I don't know. I scored a 5. I gave it a 5. And, although she's an undeniably talented vocalist, it feels like accusatory and antagonistic to me, the way she sings the lyrics. As opposed to, like, this emotionally shattered and broken down, like, wide open sense that the lyrics give me. I don't know. And I'm not really a fan of the rhythm track. It kind of subverts the mood for me, which is, like I said, I can't help but go back to the family's version. It's like indelibly attached to the family's version of sadness. And the video always kind of bugged me too. It's not my favorite.
Nothing compares. Nothing compares.
Now, the version with Prince and Rosie, this is my version of Nothing Compares to You. I give it 10 right off the bat. I love the back and forth between Rosie and Prince. The reason for that is that it takes this song that's just a sad love song, and it turns it into something like a meeting of exes that they're coming together, and they're kind of talking about their experiences after having left each other. And when they sing that they want to give it one more try at the end, it's not just screaming to the wind and the other person's not hearing it. They're singing it to each other, and it makes it that much stronger. Obviously, Rosie comes in, knocks it out of the park. Prince has to compete with her voice, and I think all of it together really just makes this a 10 out of 10 performance. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
The live version of Nothing Compares to You, done by Prince and Rosie Gaines, is great. It has a really slinky, exploratory bass part, and it also has that great quality of a live performance where it sounds like they're having a lot of fun with the song, even though the song itself isn't fun. Rosie Gaines is electric on the tune, and Prince does a great job on the vocals as well. That having been said, I don't think the narrative of the tune makes sense as a duet. I think it's a great live moment, but it doesn't tell the story the way having a single narrator carry it does. So for that, I have to dock it a couple points. I'm giving Rosie Gaines and Prince's version of the track an 8.
The version with Prince and Rosie, I really don't care for it too much, to tell you the truth. Prince is a great vocalist. I believe Rosie is a great vocalist, but you don't get the feeling of two powerhouses coming at you at once when you listen to this song with them together on it. I don't like the going back and forth, him doing one part of the song and then she sings one part of the song, then they come together and then they sing the chorus together. I don't like that. I don't like the church feel of it. I don't like the oldies but goodie feel to it. I just noticed that Prince is very, very conscious of the popularities Sinead O'Connor gets with her version, so he tries to give you a very unique, different version, but a version that's him at the same time. It just doesn't work, and when he does it with Rosie, it just sounds very church, and it doesn't sound passionate and personal. It sounds more like a celebration and giving witness to a segregation type thing. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I scored low, like 7, just because I'm combining Rosie and Prince.
From number 4, Prince and Rosie Gaines. I have a soft spot for this one because anything with Rosie is, I know I'm not alone in that. I'm on board for just about anything with her voice on it, and this live version is, immaculate. It's so good. And it's also the first version that we hear Prince perform on officially. And the chemistry between the two is just, magic. And I give this version an 8.5, 8.5.
Nothing compared to you.
So Chris Cornell, one of the best vocalists ever in the world in the history of music. And I've talked about him before, so you guys already know that. But when Prince passed, Chris actually decided to do a rendition of Nothing Compares to You. I thought it was phenomenal. It had a slightly different arrangement, which he does when he does covers, and it was more laid back. It was a little bit bluesier. I loved the different approach to this. I give it an 8.
There's a lot of rock singers I wouldn't trust to do Nothing Compares to You correctly. For a lot of rock singers, if it's a ballad, it's going to be all whispery and angelic, and otherwise you belt it out. But Chris Cornell is one of the greatest vocalists to ever walk the earth, and his rendition of Nothing Compares to You is spectacular. He does a great job doing a little different delivery of the verses, some different phrasing, etc., but also still capturing the incredible spirit of the chorus and of the tune in general. That having been said, it certainly sounds like an in-studio version. The guitar solo is great, but it's just kind of, it seems like they're not at their peak power. They're sort of doing something in the middle of the day. So, I enjoyed it. I'm giving it a 7. 7 out of 10. Chris Cornell, Nothing Compares to You.
Okay, now as far as the version with Chris Cornell, he could have stole this song for himself because he is a great vocalist and his spin on it is very original and very different. And he could have rebirthed this song, but he didn't. And this is what went wrong. He gave you too much right away. Instead of saving up some of that good stuff for the third verse, he gave it to you at the first verse. And he's just driving it home way too soon. Way too soon in the song. I like the feel, I like the acoustic country feel of it. It's very passionate. It's up there with Sinead's passionate delivery. But he's giving you all that, the best of Chris and what he could do. He's giving it to you way too soon. So when the end comes, there isn't really a climax. It's just the same stuff that he's giving you, earlier in the song, instead of him just actually building up to it and saving some of those, growling ad-libs. And besides that, it would have almost been perfect. I give it like an 8.
Move on to number 5, Chris Cornell. Now, man, I love Chris. I'm a huge Soundgarden fan. I saw them a few times. I grew up in Seattle. He's a local god. I think he's got one of the best voices of anyone anywhere ever in popular music. He was amazing. But this performance just kind of makes me sleepy. I love that he took the song on. It's just kind of a lackluster delivery for me. I do, however, feel like this interpretation recaptures a bit of the family's original melancholic mood that I, for one, believe the song was written in and intended to convey. So I score Chris's version at a 6.
Nothing compares to you. Yeah.
funny thing about Aretha's version is I only heard about it after Aretha had recently passed away, but I actually fell in love with it. It's not what you would expect from Nothing Compares to You, but she really puts the Aretha stamp on it and really kind of knocks it out of the park. That said, I think it's almost too different for a lot of people, making it an anathema to your ears. It's almost like it's a completely different song. What is this? But I welcome different approaches to songs that we know in a certain way, and I really dug it, so I'm going to give it a 7.
I would listen to Aretha Franklin sing the phone book, sing anything, and it would sound better than most people singing a masterpiece. Aretha Franklin can do no wrong, as far as I'm concerned, with her voice. This swing arrangement of Nothing Compares to You isn't my cup of tea. I don't think the lyrics fit properly in this setting. I think the horns do some clever things, but ultimately this song is a ballad. And ultimately to me, this song is a ballad that requires a full band kind of going for it. So hearing this swung version, heavy on horns, the only highlight is hearing Aretha Franklin and especially hearing the sort of extra ad-libbed lyrics at the end. That's incredible. But the arrangement doesn't really work for the tune. So I'm going to give that version 7 out of 10 for Aretha's Nothing Compares to You.
Okay, honestly, I didn't even really know the song existed until Aloy sent me an email on it, and I love the song. I really, really, really do love this song. I dig it a lot. To put a jazz spin on this song, it was something I would have never thought anyone would do, and it's genius. And it almost seems like Aretha sang the song to the best of her ability, and then the music was created around that. And they said, you know what, it has to be faster. We're going to have to turn the tempo up, or we're going to have to, jazzy it up and make it a certain way for you to be able to deliver it. And she delivers it in the most unique, original way, even better than Chris did, even better than Prince did with Rosie. And it's great. It's produced by Andre 3000 of Outkast, of all people. And it's done on Aretha's last studio album, and it's the last song on that studio album. Her rendition of Nothing Compares to You, produced by Andre 3000. And it's fun, and it's different, and it's surprising, and it's feel good, and it's not so dreadful, and it's a breath of fresh air. I give it a 9, really close to a 10, but Sinead's is flawless. She holds the bar at 10, so Aretha's gonna have to get 9, but the Aretha one is really, really close. You want to listen to that over and over again. It's a really fun song.
Which brings us to number 6, Aretha Franklin. Complete 180 degree from Melancholy, the Queen's upbeat bluesy jazz version, and a total reimagining and a different point of view entirely. I never heard this version even until Eloy sent it. I didn't even know what to expect, but it wasn't this, and I love it. She totally makes the song her own, which of course she did with every song she ever sang. But, to have it be this song that's etched into my brain, like the grooves of an LP itself, this song, and with memory and feelings attached, and nostalgia and emotions, it's almost impossible to give a thumbs up to any version of Nothing Compares to You other than the family's version. But Aretha got it. I dig it. It's really good. But the Queen is still no Prince, so I scored a 6.95.
So now we have all the numbers in. Drum roll, please. It looks like Sinead O'Connor's version wins, but only by a hair. The version with Prince and Rosie Gaines comes in a 0.5 point below her, and Prince's version a 0.5 point below that one. Aretha's comes in, surprisingly, at 30 points, and then making up the tail end, the family and Chris Cornell both tie for that last placement. I'm not even going to say one is better than the other. Honestly, I think all of these versions are great, so I had a really fun time going through this. I want to thank Troy Gua, Stone Blake, Sean McPherson. Thank you guys for coming. If you want to check out anything from these 3 folks, there will be links down in the description. This was an amazing talk, and I have to say I'm not surprised by who won, but I am surprised by the order underneath that one. If you like what we do here and you want more of this kind of thing, definitely don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notifications button, hit like, click on links in the description, check us out on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/princessfriend. And in the meantime, may you live to see the dawn. We love you. See you in the next video. Hey everybody, if you have a question you want to ask me, or if you have an idea for a video that you want me to tackle, there's a link in the description. You can go to bit.ly/askafriend. Who knows, maybe I'll do a video about the thing that you asked one day. See you in the next video.